Have you ever found yourself lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking, "Am I actually going to fall asleep tonight?" It feels like an almost impossible battle, doesn't it? A lot of people over 60 deal with this exact thing. And if you're here, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's frustrating, exhausting, and sometimes even downright desperate. But here's the good news. There's a simple and natural way out of this problem. And I'm going to show you how to transform your nights without relying on pills or complicated fixes. Meet John Miller, an ordinary guy from Ohio who went through something many of us can relate to. He had a peaceful life. He tended his garden, played cards with friends on Wednesday afternoons, and even baked his famous apple cake on Sundays. But at night? Oh, that was a whole different story. He'd lie down, close his eyes, and nothing. Total silence in his mind? Not a chance. It was like his head was a washing machine, spinning thoughts non-stop. He tried counting sheep, drinking warm milk, even saying a little prayer. But nothing worked. "I didn't know what else to do," he told me once with that weary tone. Only someone who's lost countless nights of sleep can understand. So why does this happen so often after 60? Here's a quick, straight-to-the-point explanation. Our bodies change, and that includes our sleep patterns. The production of melatonin, the hormone that helps us fall asleep, naturally drops as we age. Plus, things like anxiety, physical discomfort, or even the neighbor's noise can mess with your nights. But hold on a sec. Before you start thinking it's all hopeless, I've got something important to tell you. You have power over this. Yes, you. And you know why? Because there are simple and natural solutions that can transform your nights without the drama. Back to John's story. One day, while chatting with his granddaughter Emily, she said something that would change everything. "Grandpa, maybe the problem isn't sleep itself, but what you do before you go to bed." That sentence stuck with John. He started paying attention to his nighttime habits and realized he was often watching action movies before bed, drinking coffee late in the afternoon, and even replying to emails on his phone while lying down. Could these little things be ruining my nights? He wondered. And guess what? He decided to test a simple change. He created a relaxing bedtime routine. He started with a warm bath, turned off all electronics at least an hour before bed, and swapped his afternoon coffee for a cup of chamomile tea. At first, I didn't think it'd work, he admitted. But you know what happened? That very night, I slept like a baby. Of course, it wasn't a miracle, but those small changes made all the difference. Now, think about this. Could your nighttime habits be sabotaging your sleep too? Maybe you're watching high-energy shows, using bright lights in your room, or letting negative thoughts take over your mind. What if I told you there's a simple way to fix this? Yup, we're talking about building a nighttime routine that works like clockwork. You'll find out how tiny tweaks can lead to big results. And best of all, no pills required. As John dug into these changes, he noticed something interesting. Sleep isn't just about physical comfort, it's also about mental peace. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are other secrets that can transform your nights and, in turn, your mornings. John still had a lot to learn, and so do you. Now that you know John's story, let's talk about something a lot of people overlook. The environment where you sleep. Seems simple, right? But what many don't realize is that the place where you spend your nights can be just as important as the habits you follow before bed. Picture this. You're trying to sleep in a room full of noise, flickering lights, and an uncomfortable bed. Sounds impossible to relax, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what happens when we ignore the power of our sleep space. John figured this out the hard way too. After improving his nighttime routine, he still felt like something was off. He was falling asleep faster, but he'd wake up multiple times during the night. I felt like a dog chasing its own tail, trying to get comfortable, he joked with me once. No matter what I did, something still wasn't right. Then one day, while visiting a friend's house, he noticed something different. The room was peaceful. No noise, curtains that blocked out all the outside light, and even the air felt lighter. It was like walking into a private spa, John told me later. Curious, he decided to dig deeper into the topic. And here's a big revelation. Studies show that your sleep environment has a huge impact on the quality of your rest. A dark, quiet, and cool room can make all the difference. That's because our brains are wired to associate those conditions with sleep time. When there are distractions, like bright lights or weird noises, the brain stays on alert, ready to react to anything. And that, of course, messes with your deep sleep. So, what did John do with this info? Well, he started small. First, he swapped out his thin bedroom curtains for blackout curtains, the kind that completely block out light. It sounds silly, but it was like putting a lid on my mind, he said. Then, he got a thick rug to muffle sounds coming from the hallway. And guess what else? He adjusted the room's temperature too. Research shows that a temperature between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit is ideal for sleeping well. So, John set his thermostat and noticed his sheets finally started feeling cozy. But here's an extra tip not many people know. Your mattress can be a silent villain too. John realized his was old. It sagged in the middle and creaked every time he moved. I was sleeping on a minefield, he joked. So, he decided to invest in a new mattress, one designed specifically to give extra support to his back and joints. It was like trading in an old car for a brand new model, he said excitedly. Now think about this. Is your room helping or hurting your sleep? Maybe you've got the TV on low, a glowing digital clock in the dark, or even that noisy neighbor. What if I told you fixing this could be easier than you think? Yup, we're talking about small tweaks that can turn your bedroom into a true rest haven. As John kept tweaking his space, he noticed something surprising. Sleep isn't just about physical comfort. It's also about creating a personal sanctuary where your body and mind can truly unwind. And that brings us to a new question. What else can we do to make sure our nights are genuinely restorative? John was just starting to explore these possibilities, and you're about to uncover the next secret too. Now that you've grasped the importance of nighttime habits and a well-prepped bedroom, it's time to talk about something we can't ignore. The weight of worries. Yup, those voices in your head that just won't shut up, even when you're lying down, trying to relax. It seems like the older we get, the more stuff we have to think about, right? Bills, kids, grandkids, health. It's like your mind decides bedtime is the perfect moment for an emergency meeting. But what if I told you there's a way to tell those worries to get lost before you sleep? John dealt with this too. Even after tweaking his routine and upgrading his room, he noticed that many nights were still hijacked by non-stop thoughts. He told me, I'd lie down, close my eyes, and suddenly my mind would start racing. I'd think about everything, from the leak in the roof to that comment I made 20 years ago in a work meeting. Sound like an exaggeration? It's not. A lot of people over 60 go through this because the mind tends to replay memories and worries more intensely. But you know what I figured out? John went on. The problem wasn't what I was thinking about. It was when I let those thoughts take over. So, what did he do? John decided to try something that seemed simple, but ended up being a total game changer for him. He started a practice called a mental dump. Every day, about 15 minutes before bed, he grabbed a notebook, an actual paper notebook, and wrote down everything that was on his mind. Problems, tasks for the next day, worries, even random little ideas. It was like taking all that weight off my mind and putting it on paper, he explained. After that, I felt light. But why does this work? Here's a cool explanation. Our mind is like a computer. When we leave thoughts floating around without organizing them, they keep running in the background, draining mental energy. By writing them down, you're basically saving your thoughts, letting your mind rest easy, knowing nothing will be forgotten. It's like closing all the browser tabs, John joked. You just need to hit the right button. Another trick John picked up was practicing gratitude before bed. Instead of fixating on what went wrong or what needed to be done, he started reflecting on 3 good things that happened during the day. It could be something simple, like the tasty coffee he had in the morning, or something bigger, like a meaningful chat with a friend. Focusing on what went right made me feel calmer and more thankful, he said. And you know what happened? My mind started linking the end of the day to something positive instead of an endless problem list. Now, think about this. How many times have you gone to bed with your head full of heavy thoughts, not even realizing the toll it takes on your sleep? Maybe you're carrying worries that could wait for another time. Or maybe you just need a way to wrap up the day. What if I told you that jotting down your thoughts and practicing gratitude could be the key to freeing your mind and finally resting? As John explored these habits, he realized something deep. Sleeping well isn't just about the body. It's also about creating mental peace. And that peace starts with small choices, like organizing your thoughts and focusing on what really matters. But here's an intriguing question. What if there are even more ways to prep your mind for restful sleep? John was about to find out, and you're about to learn the next secret too. Now that you've learned how to prep your mind and environment for a quality night's sleep, it's time to talk about something many people underestimate: the role of movement in sleep. Yup, you've probably heard someone say, exercise helps you sleep better. But here's the key detail. We're not talking about running marathons or lifting massive weights. In fact, it's the exact opposite. We're talking about finding the right balance between moving your body and respecting your limits. Sounds simple? Well, it's deeper than it seems. John stumbled onto this in the most unexpected way. After fine-tuning his nighttime routine, turning his bedroom into a peaceful retreat, and even learning to clear his mind, he noticed something odd. Some nights, he still felt restless, like his body was craving something he couldn't quite pinpoint. I was doing everything right, John told me once, a little frustrated. So why was I still tossing and turning, unable to relax? Then a casual chat with a friend shifted his perspective. His friend shared a simple habit he'd picked up: daily walks for just 20 minutes. Nothing intense, nothing over the top. Just a calm stroll outside, enjoying the fresh air and taking in the nature around him. I started doing it because I wanted to get out of the house, not even for sleep, his friend explained. But I noticed that when I get home at night, my body's ready to rest. Intrigued, John decided to give it a shot. At first, he was skeptical. How could a simple walk make such a difference? But soon, he started feeling the results. After a few days of walking in the park near his house, he noticed his nights were different. He'd lie down and, instead of fidgeting for hours, he'd fall asleep fast. It was like my body finally knew it had done enough during the day, he remarked. So why does this happen? Here's an interesting explanation. Our body works like a finely tuned machine. When we move, even lightly, we send signals to the brain that we're active, alive, and engaged. This helps regulate sleep-related hormones like serotonin and melatonin. Plus, light physical activity temporarily raises your body temperature. And when it drops back down a few hours later, your body takes it as a cue to rest. It's like lighting a candle and then blowing it out, John joked. But here's a heads up. Too much is the enemy of progress. John learned this the hard way. In a burst of enthusiasm, he signed up for a spinning class. I thought, if walking helps, imagine this. But reality hit differently. He came home exhausted, legs shaking, heart racing. That night was a disaster, he admitted. I couldn't sleep because my body was screaming for rest, but my mind was still wired. The lesson was clear. The trick is to move, but in a balanced way. Another trick John discovered was adding light stretching. Before bed, he started setting aside about 5 minutes to gently stretch his muscles, especially his back, neck, and legs. It was like giving my own body a hug, he said. I could feel each part unwinding little by little. These simple movements helped release tension built up during the day, setting his body up for deeper sleep. Now, think about this. Are you giving your body the right amount of movement it needs? Maybe you're spending too much time sitting, leaving your muscles stiff and your energy stuck. Or maybe you're pushing too hard, creating more fatigue than relaxation. What if I told you that short walks or stretches could be the key to a tired but relaxed body, and in turn, restorative nights of sleep? As John explored this secret, he realized something surprising. Movement isn't just about physical health. It's also about building a deeper connection with yourself. It was like every step or stretch brought more harmony between body and mind. But here's an intriguing question. What if there are even more ways to use movement to boost your sleep? John was about to find out, and you're about to learn the next secret too. We've reached the final secret, but it's no less important. Syncing with your internal clock. Yup, that invisible clock controlling your sleep and wake cycles is waiting for you. And when you learn to dance to its rhythm, everything changes. It might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's pure science. John stumbled onto this discovery almost by accident, and once he grasped the power of this sync, his life transformed completely. It all started when John noticed something strange. Some nights he slept well, but other times, even when he did everything right, he still woke up tired. I didn't get it, he told me. It was like my body was out of tune with the rest of the world. Then he read about circadian rhythms, the natural 24-hour cycle that regulates our sleep, energy, and even mood. And guess what he found? Out? To keep that internal clock ticking smoothly, consistency is the key. John decided to put it to the test. He started waking up and going to bed at the same time every day, even on weekends. At first, I thought it'd be tough, he admitted, but after a few days, my body just adjusted. He noticed that with a steady routine, his body began releasing melatonin right on cue, prepping him for sleep. And in the morning, he felt more energized, like he'd been recharged overnight. It was like having a built-in biological alarm, he joked. But here's a key detail. Consistency isn't just about strict schedules. It's also about creating little rituals that help your body and mind know it's time to unwind. John started a special pre-bed ritual. Every night, about 30 minutes before lying down, he'd turn off all electronics, sip a cup of chamomile tea, and read a few pages of a calm book. It was like sending a clear signal to my brain. Okay, time to slow down now, he explained. Another trick John picked up was making the most of natural light. He started spending more time outside in the morning, letting sunlight hit his eyes. This helped reset his internal clock, telling his body it was time to kick off the day. At night, he avoided bright lights and screens, creating a softer setting in tune with natural darkness. It was like being in harmony with day and night, he remarked. Now, think about this. Have you been ignoring your body's natural signals? Maybe you're sleeping at different times every day, or overexposing yourself to artificial light at night. What if I told you that simple tweaks, like waking up at the same time daily, building consistent rituals, and respecting natural light, could transform your nights and mornings? Yup, we're talking about syncing your body with the natural rhythm of the world around you. As John explored these secrets, he realized something profound. Sleeping well isn't just about isolated techniques or habits. It's about finding harmony between body, mind, and environment. It was like every little change he made was a piece of a bigger puzzle, coming together to create a full picture of health and well-being. And now, are you ready to transform your nights? Remember, sleep isn't just a luxury, it's a vital need for living a full, vibrant life. With the 5 secrets we've shared, from tweaking your nighttime routine to syncing your internal clock, you've got the tools in your hands to sleep like a baby. No pills needed. So, what's the first step you'll take today? Revamping your environment, adjusting your habits, or maybe just giving your body a chance to find its natural rhythm? Whatever you choose, know you're on the right path to calmer nights and more refreshing mornings. Because, after all, life is made up of moments, and you deserve to make the most of every single one.